believe that we are feeding out to the people, Edgar. Let's see here. I think I could see that going out there. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. We probably have a lot of things that we need to talk about on this Friday. So TGIF to everyone out there, you are watching and listening to the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Home of freedom all around the world. We talk about Second Amendment stuff. I don't know, whatever the hell we want to. How would you classify us there, Edgar?
Yeah, it's kind of harder to keep it on one subject, but you guys
Yeah.
are a 2A freedom podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the predominant thing that we talk about here, but we just talk about freedom stuff, man and woman stuff. That kind of thing is what we get into here. So I want to remind everyone to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list there. Really important. Lots of good ways to keep in touch with us. There's deals on there that Lola shares. If you want to find out what alternate platforms we're on, you could look under the Strangerholics tab. I also want to remind everyone to go get signed up with U.S. Law Shield. We do have in the description, this is the book I got from U.S. Law Shield about the Florida gun laws. I mean, look at how thick that is. That is shameful. Shouldn't even really be that thick. But check out U.S. Law Shield. Get signed up with them through our link. You can save some money. You can also help us get a couple of shekels to keep all of this going. I do appreciate that. Big shout out to Franklin Armory right down there for supporting us. Let me throw Edgar here into the monitor, and I will start the festivities right now.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange
All right,
situation.
so like I said, make sure you guys
Lifestyles
subscribe,
of the locked
smash the
and loaded.
thumbs ups, ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, the bell is ringing. That reminds me, I think there's a Shabarank song that goes like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, what was it? I think it's ding-a-ling-a-ling, school bell a ring, fight for 45, something like that. So anyway, we are live. We are live. Let's do the jazz hands. Let's get that going. Come on, Edgar.
Oh, am I frozen?
Yeah,
There
a
we
little
go.
bit. What's going on with your internet today, man?
I don't know. I got white people internet too, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
We got the 400 megs up in
What?
here, so
Oh,
yeah. So I don't know
uh,
why it's
yeah. Somebody's tapped
freezing
into
out.
your line, man.
Somebody.
Somebody's tapped into the line over there. You might want to investigate into that. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. This is episode 762. 762. 762.
Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah. ATF changing definition of frame or receiver. Of course, with Edgar Antillon of Guns for Everyone, right? Got that right, I hope.
Guns for everyone, yeah.
There you go, Edgar. It's always good to see you, man. Welcome back on this Friday.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again.
What you been up to?
Nothing. Just trying to do the 2A thing and like always trying to piss people off.
Mm-hmm.
So same old thing.
Yeah. Well, do what you do best. That's the only. What can I say to that? What can I say to that? Do what you do best, man. You know. I don't think you have to do much to make people mad.
No, absolutely not. I think usually when people see my name, they already know it's gonna
That
be
guy,
a pretty.
like,
It's that guy again.
that guy, yeah. I see Letitia out there says waiting patiently. Oh, okay. Shout out to that's wifey.
Yeah, it is my wife. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to her. Do we ever see her on the show? She's not allowed to be shown.
Oh, she could be shown. I think it's just
Okay.
she's just a little more shy, a little more reserved.
Oh,
I
she's
make up for that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So you're the only one who causes trouble around there. Just
Publicly, anyways.
publicly. Okay. Yeah. Um. So listen, there's a whole bunch of different things going on. I obviously did mention this thing going on with the ATF. It's kind of breaking right now, so we haven't had the time to read through all this stuff. We'll probably read through it with you guys and talk about that. I know, Edgar, you haven't had a chance to read through it either, because all of this is coming out, for me at least. I've been busy all day doing different things,
Yeah.
and then I realized maybe like half an hour ago that all this stuff was out. I think Babyface P reminded me of that, and I'm pretty sure John Crump was on live talking about this as well.
Correct.
So
Yeah, and for me, it just they word in such a way. English is my second language, so they don't make it very ESL friendly.
mhm, mhm.
Um, so yeah, this is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, Letitia says she's your backup. Um, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yeah, English is my first language, and not saying I speak that well,
Correct.
but I still don't understand this nonsense. Right?
Correct.
There is a lot of double speak, so far as I'm concerned. In there, a lot of things meant to confuse people for you to try to figure
Yeah.
out to dig through it. There is a commentary period that's open on this. Let me see if I could. Let's see if we could just share this with people out there. Let's start with that. Let's see. I'll scroll back up to the top of this and just show everyone what this looks like here. So this is the PDF from them. So it says, please note that this is the text of the proposed rule as signed by the Attorney General, but the official version of the proposed rule will be published in the Federal Register. So it goes through a whole thing, BATF, all of that. Action, notice of proposed rulemaking, request for comment, summary. So maybe we should just start with the summary. It says Department of Justice proposes amending Bureau of blah 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 ATF regulations to provide new regulatory definitions of firearm frame or receiver, quote unquote, and frame or receiver, quote unquote. What the hell? Firearm frame or receiver and frame or receiver.
Yeah.
Why is there two different versions of that?
Because it's the ATF, it's government, man.
Yeah, and it says because the current regulations fail to capture the meaning of those terms. The department also proposes amending ATF's definitions of firearm, quote unquote, and gunsmith, quote unquote, to clarify the meaning of those terms and to provide definitions of terms such as, quote unquote, complete weapon or complete muffler or silencer device, privately made firearm, and readily. These are all in quotes for the purpose of clarity given advancements in firearms technology. Further, the department proposes amendments to ATF regulations on marking, and record keeping that are necessary to implement these new amended definitions. And then it goes on to talk about the dates here. Written comments must be postmarked, and electronic comments must be submitted on or before insert date 90 days after date of publication. Blah blah blah. So we'll just start there. I don't know. That's obviously just the introduction. So I'm sure you guys are reading it out there. Edgar, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, we know what the attack is, right? We understand that they're trying to get rid of DIY guns, 3D printing. That's really their aim is they're not liking P80s and stuff like that. So it's dumb. It's another one of these things. Is just the ATF being the ATF. And we were kind of expecting this, so it's not too crazy. We were waiting for this.
Yeah, right. So for sure, we expected this. I think we've been talking about this for a little while. The Biden administration, they've been, what could we say, foreshadowing this for a while.
Correct.
And definitely Biden came out and said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to push for this. I'm going to push for that." So none of it is unexpected. You're right about that. Let me do a couple of housekeeping things here for everyone who's out there. Smash the thumbs ups. That helps us with the algorithm. It's kind of tough here because it seems like we're getting ghosted and ghosted. We're ghosted on top of ghosted.
Yeah.
If that's possible. So for everyone who is watching us, smash those. If you guys had a chance to read this, if you haven't, let me see if I could can I copy this? Let me see if I can copy this. Let me see if I can. How can I do this here? Okay, maybe I need to go. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly how I could copy a link of this and send it to you guys here. Which I cannot. Okay, hold on now. Let's see. Here we go.
It's pretty tough on YouTube.
Yeah. I'll just put it. Let's see. I think I could put this in the chat. So that's if you want to download the PDF. You guys can go there and check that out. Um. Okay. So while I'm waiting for everyone to come in with their opinions on this thing, you know, I think my thing about all of this is, why do they need to amend things that have been laid out for a long time? You know,
Yeah,
why
but
are they
that's kind of what the
mm-hmm. Go ahead.
yeah, that's kind of what the ATF does. That's kind of what the government does, though,
Mm-hmm.
is they find the the stuff that is already laid out that's pretty obvious, and they try and complicate it even more because it's easier to penalize you if you do get in trouble. It's easier to go into P80 and say you were breaking the law when here's the rules, and
Yeah.
you need 13 attorneys to understand what the rules are.
Yeah,
So
and all of a sudden, like, the ghost guns become the culprit without us seeing any actual data that
correct,
clarifies why are
correct,
the ghost guns a
correct.
problem. You know, why is this all of a sudden a problem? And then beyond that, why would, like, who would actually care about this? Why would people who are criminals, you know, or people who don't care about the rest of society and decide they're going to go out there and try to destroy as many people as possible, why would they give a damn about
And
a
I
law
think this
these
is the
guys make?
problem that you have when you have people who don't understand the industry, don't understand the subject that they're making rules for.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you get
Mm-hmm.
is people who are making rules that they just don't understand it. I can, to a degree, and this is the controversial statement, right? This is the
Mm-hmm.
unpopular statement. This is the
Mm-hmm.
soundbite everybody gets. But
Mm-hmm.
I could take somebody seriously if they knew what the fuck they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And we can have a debate. We can have a real debate. But when you
Mm-hmm.
have idiots that have absolutely no clue what a gun is and what it does and how it operates and calls it silly things like ghost guns and that type of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't even take it seriously. It's hard to take serious
Mm-hmm.
because it's dumb. I mean, it's a piece of material. It's not even a gun, really. You can't even call it 80% lower because it's just an object right now. It's
Yeah, I mean, it's a piece of depending on what materials it's made out of. It's a piece of metal. What? Now my thing is go. Okay, there we go. Yeah. It's it's a piece of metal, piece of plastic, until someone decides to make it into something. But what is it gonna matter? Like, the genie is already out of the bottle on firearms,
correct. Yeah,
right? It's way past out of the bottle on weapons. I mean, we've got people. You could create so much damage with so many things that exist just, you know, in everyday life. So what does it matter? How is this going to stop someone? If someone creates this evil ghost gun and then goes out there and does something bad, who are we charging? Who are we charging with things? Who are we going to punish because this person
correct.
did this thing? And what difference is
Correct.
it going to make?
Correct. And the answer is none, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the real answer. It's not going
Mm-hmm.
to change anything. And I think the gun community does a horrendous job at counterattacking. So what we do is we'll take their words. So now we use ghost gun, and now we
Mm-hmm.
made ghost gun a popular term along with the anti-gunners, and we
Mm-hmm.
just continue saying ghost gun, ghost gun, ghost gun,
Mm-hmm.
ghost gun.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that with assault weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every they started saying assault weapons, and now
Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of gun owners calling it an assault weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So we almost kind of fall into the trap of the war of words,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just kind of ride with it, and then
Mm-hmm.
10 years down the line we call it what they wanted us to believe it was, and
Mm-hmm.
we fall into that trap. So I think we got to do a better job at not falling for that trap as well, because here we are. When did ghost gun become a term? Like 4
Yeah.
years ago.
Well,
um
yeah. I mean, it's not really been that long, but the thing is if we, like, how many words can we really parse? I do understand where you're coming from, but
yeah,
how many words can we really parse? And what does it really matter? It's just language after all. And if we're putting things on it, it doesn't matter if they call it a ghost gun and we just call it an 80%. They don't like the idea of an 80%, you know, and we continue to call it 80%. Like, you know, a rose by any other name is still the same thing. I do agree with you that they're putting these bad names on things in order to do something. But if we get caught up in that, it doesn't change the overall thing. Like, what's going on here is there's a Second Amendment. There either is or there isn't. This is one of the things I think a lot of Americans should ask the politicians that represent them. Is there a Second Amendment or not?
Correct.
This is what
so
I want
you
to know.
and I understand that, though.
Is there a constitution or not? Go ahead.
Yeah, you and I understand that, and that's cool. But the general public that doesn't give a shit about guns one way or another, that is going to vote based off of what the optics are on CNN or Fox News or whatever, they're the ones that are listening to these words. So to them it matters. To you and I, it doesn't matter. But we have to understand we're trying to reach the people that are voting these people in.
Yeah,
and that's where it matters.
Yeah, and this is why I would say to those people, to not just the folks who listen to us every day, and we're all basically on the same wavelengths and stuff like that, right? We're all not too far off from each other. But just ask yourselves, people of America, do we have a constitution or not? Do we have the right to defend ourselves or not? Okay? And if we have the right to defend ourselves, are there limits on that or not? Right? There should be no limits on that. That's what shall not be infringed. That's the definition of that. So, to me, this is the answer. We do have a constitution. We do have the Second Amendment. However, we don't have it if we get lost in all these things and we allow these people to just keep changing the rules whenever it's convenient to them, because they cannot solve the problem. Okay, and they want to keep rationalizing their existence. I'm talking about the government. I'm talking about politicians. They want to rationalize their existence to us, so they keep doing this nonsense. Right, and that's what we're looking at here. Now we're looking at these guys. What they want to do is take everything and make it into a firearm. Oh, can you make this thing into a gun? Oh, okay. It doesn't matter if it's it's just a stamp piece of metal or whatever. That's a gun now. Anything that goes into that's a gun. We want everything serialized. So, go ahead. Am I?
Yeah. No, you're good. So, but that's kind of the thing that gets us into trouble. So many that listen already understand that I'm an anarchist. So I'm just playing the status game. I'm just playing the interwebs game right now, because that's the game where we're at, unfortunately.
Right.
The problem is with all of that stuff is you have, I think Biden said something stupid like a 30-minute gun or something like that, and almost instantly the gun community is all like, oh well, I'll take you up on that challenge. I can make a gun in 30 minutes, and it's probably true. Like, I've seen people with P80 make a gun in 30 minutes. And we'll post it and we say, yeah, we can make it in 30 minutes. And then now you're giving the ATF that idea, like, I can make it in 30 minutes. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If it takes me a week to make it,
doesn't matter. I could do it in 2 seconds. It doesn't. Who
gives exactly. Who gives a shit? Like, if it takes me a week, I still made it and it's still legal, and it shouldn't be like, there shouldn't be a time limit on that. And I see the gun community almost kind of falling into that trap where, like, oh well, I can make it in 30, and almost playing chicken with the ATF to regulate the time requirement. And the reality is, I don't give a shit if it takes me a month, 30 seconds. I should be able to go home, make my gun out of soda cans if I want to, and be zero regulations in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Look, the reason why I'm getting into that is that before we get into all of this and try to, like, weed through the minutia of this thing, I mean, honestly, I was looking forward to a conversation with you about whatever, and to me that's always fun. Like, I don't really know what we're going to talk about, so I was like, oh, this will be cool. When are we going to talk? And then some crap like this comes up, right? The whole thing about it is that it's all ridiculous. At the end of the day, they want to make everything impossible for you to get your hands on it, right?
Correct.
They want to control everything. The government wants you to ask them at night if you could go to sleep. When you wake up, hey, can I wake up now? All right, what can I do? When do I need to put my mask on, take my mask off? Do I need to walk with my vaccine passport? They want you to ask them for everything. They want you to be a slave to them. Now, how can they do that? Okay, how can they do that? By in this case of what we're talking here is making you into a criminal, and this is why I was mentioning like criminals don't care. So they're saying there's people out there doing bad things. We're gonna cure this epidemic here, and we're gonna do this by going after these bad evil people who are doing things illegally. And this is not the issue. Like, the criminals don't give a crap. They're not going to follow this. So now that means it's for the rest of us in society
Correct.
that work hard. We want to have things. We want to follow the laws. We don't want to wind up in jail. We don't want to be slaves to these people any more than we have to. So that's why all this crazy minutia that you can't understand, that they could keep changing and adapting to. And in the beginning of that, they're saying they have to define something that they already defined. And they messed up, so now they're going to lock it all in and put a blanket over everything.
Correct, and it goes back to this idea of gun control being racist, right? This is going to hurt the brown communities a lot more, and that's statistically proven already. There's a lot of people in the Mexican community, I know at least, firsthand, that are big into 80% guns, quote unquote 80% guns, whatever that means. Huge. So you already have a sector of the population that is kind of waking up to this idea that I can make a gun at the house. And from my little sample pool, right, I instruct about 20,000 students a year, which is a huge population, and a lot more Mexicans are coming out and saying like, oh, I like to make my own guns at my house. So coincidence or not,
you're like a modern day Mexican freedom fighter. You know.
And coincidence or not, but I mean, this is going to affect those people a lot more than it is going to affect the people in the burbs. Just because of knowledge in general, just because of the way it's gone throughout the decades and centuries. So I mean, you have that small element as well with all of this shit.
Yeah, let's try to dive back into this craziness. Bear with me, Edgar. My apologies in advance for this guy. I'm trying to kill this because it's like, I feel like, I like when there's a fly you can't kill. I just murderized that.
Did you murder it?
Oh
Nice.
yeah, he dead. He's dead. All right, so if he comes back to life, then that's a ghost fly. Okay, I know. I just played into it. I know. I'm sorry. All right, so listen. Was that a bump that you just
There
did?
you go.
Oh boy. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go on. So let's go through this. They give instructions, it looks like, on how you're going to do this, and then here's the background. The Attorney General is responsible for enforcing the Gun Control Act of 1968, and as amended, the National Firearms Act of 1934. Oh Lord. Okay, we'll go through that. So let's see what it says here.
I'm seeing in the firearms parts kit. I think we're reading kind of the same thing, just in different places. What's kind of confusing is says the proposed rule explains that when partially complete frame or receiver kit has reached a stage in manufacture where it may readily be completed, assembled, converted, or restored into a functional state, it is a frame. Like, what does that mean? It's so vague that it just, you're not really defining anything.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things here. Just from me reading through it initially, and I always I would prefer to have time to dig through things like this and figure out what they mean. So you guys are going to see a little bit of our process here. But just from looking at it initially, the reason why they want to change the definition of gunsmiths, they're saying, is because they want, like, if you do this, you're going to have to go to a gunsmith and get it serialized or there's some kind of thing going on here that they want, so that when if you take something and start manufacturing it, in their opinion, into a firearm, they want you to go get it serialized, right? And any of these things being made by companies, they want it serialized. I think one of the things is they want to be able to go after companies, because if a company, it doesn't technically make firearms, right? They don't have to have the licenses to make firearms, and therefore
Correct.
the ATF can't go after them. This is one of the issues that happened with the pistol braces, where the companies, some of the companies out there, not all of them, but some of those companies out there, the ATF really couldn't go after them because they're not manufacturing firearms technically, and that's the truth, right? What are they making? They're making a
Right.
stock that goes on a firearm. It's an accessory for a firearm. So now they want to be able to say, oh, no, 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 that's not an accessory. That's a firearm. And if you're not serializing it, we could come after you. And then when we say, well, what if the person has a right at their home to make a firearm, they're saying, well, you could go to a gunsmith, or you could become a gunsmith, or we could give some kind of licensing to a gunsmith so you could go serialize it. Still, my question to you is, how does that solve anything? Because a person wanting to do bad things doesn't give a crap about that.
Yeah.
So all
Yeah.
you're doing is just finding another reason to put people through more paperwork and more background checks and to get on more lists, you know?
And the obvious question to the gun community is at what point and it's a dicey one, right? But at what point do we stop caring? At what point do we stop saying, listen, we've already paid attention too much, we've already given too much? So it's that fine balance of wanting to work within the system, which me as an anarchist don't understand in any way, shape, or form. Somebody who appreciates real freedom. I don't understand this idea of, well, we got to play by the rules. But that's the society we're in, right? Like, I've already lost that.
Yeah.
So at what
Yeah.
point does the gun community say, like, no, like that's cute, but we're going to continue disobey, because they can't put us all in jail.
Yeah. So now before I go back in, let me cover something here quickly that I see. Like you said it, and then Brian Quick is responding to you. So maybe we can deal with that here in a second. If anyone's watching us here, you guys are enjoying this, smash the thumbs ups. Let us know actually in the comments right now what you think about this. I'm gonna throw it up here on the screen. Brian Quick says, I think constantly saying gun control is racist should be abandoned by pro 2A community. The anti-gun left doesn't care about being called racist. Low info voters vote for them anyway. That's his point. So I would invite everyone out there right now to comment on that and see what you think about it. And meanwhile, it looks like we have John Crump joining us also. So I'm gonna dial Crumpy in here as well. Hey Crump.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming in here.
Yeah, no problem at all.
I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, You're superstar.
No, I'm not a superstar, but I'm definitely busy tonight.
Yes, I know. You're a superstar in our world, man. You're a superstar to us, So we appreciate you taking the time. So anyway, just real quick, let's get on this thing of what Brian Quick is saying about that we're wrong when we say gun control is racist, or we should stop saying that. I don't know if he's saying we're wrong. He says that they just don't care.
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong, right? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that statement in the sense that liberals, especially white liberals, have embraced being racist and are pretty blatant about that shit in the way they treat us. I mean, they have a president who said Mexicans and black people don't know how to use fucking computers and the internet.
Yeah.
So
we're not cool intelligent enough to have ID.
Correct. So I think that's his point, is like they've already proven. So I get it, but the fact still is that a lot of gun control stems from racist tactics.
Yeah.
So that's a fact.
Yeah, my opinion is I'm not taking anything out of my arsenal. So I think we're talking about a fact, whether they care, they don't care. I think it's important, like for me, and obviously, like you said earlier, you're talking to a lot of Latinos, training people, getting people involved here. When I'm out and I talk to people about guns and the Second Amendment, and a lot of people who look just like I do, I have that conversation with them. So what other people feel about it doesn't really matter. I say to them, realize that there's folks out there trying to make you into criminals, and this is what's going on, and this is the reason why this is a bad thing. Like, who do you think is going to suffer from these laws that they're coming up with? John, do you want to get into this real quick before we get on the subject of what's going on with this proposal?
Yeah, if you look at gun control, there is a history of racism. They might not care about it, but there is definitely a history of racism. It all stems from Jim Crow laws. If you look out in California, the Mumford Act was a direct result of the Black Panthers, for example. And more than that, if you look at, I know North Carolina is just about to appeal their pistol permit. We have to have a pistol permit. Do you guys hear an echo?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Someone might be up too loud. That's probably why. So let me see. I'm gonna turn my headsets down a little bit. See if that helps. Someone's headsets might be too loud. So go ahead.
Yeah. So if you look at like North Carolina, they're about to get rid of their pistol permit law. The pistol permit law in North Carolina was passed to keep freed blacks from being able to get a gun. So yeah, there is a huge history of of racism and gun control. Even going back all the way to like stuff like Black Wall Street in St. Louis and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's. I understand what people are saying, but I think ultimately, like, why even fight about that? I think that it's based in reality and it's part of the conversation. It's not the entire conversation. It's part of it, and the reality is who's really going to suffer from these laws? Who's really actually going to go to jail? And people need to think about who is going to go to jail. Who is this going to be effectively used against? So, or but listen, I know Crump doesn't have a lot of time. Crump, you want to hit us with like the major points of what's going on here?
Yeah, one of the most interesting things I found out about it is there's a website listed in there. It's if you go to crumpy.com/discord, and you can join my Discord. I had to do it, Hank.
That's not that I know that's not on that's not on this PDF, John.
I had to do it. No, basically, it's attacking. It's attacking the whole market of unfinished firearms and stuff like that. A couple different things that I did notice is they really didn't give a lot of clarity. Basically, the ATF has this thing where they always try to do everything ambiguously, so it leaves them a lot of leeway. Like they say, if something can hold a trigger or whatever, that is a frame or receiver, but but we can make anything we want a frame or receiver. And I saw a perfect meme for this, and it's Patrick from SpongeBob, and it says, "Is mayonnaise a receiver?" Because now, instead of, hey, this is what it is, they're like, if you don't have a letter saying it's not a receiver, it's a receiver, which is kind of ridiculous. They want everything serialized. So basically, once you get to the point of the firearm being able to be readily convertible, which they don't say what is readily convertible or not again, because of course they wouldn't, then you have to serialize it at that point. Also, gunsmiths are not allowed to work on your guns that aren't serialized. So if you want your homemade firearm worked on by a gunsmith, they can't do it. They can't do it, which is ridiculous. It basically turns everything into a receiver, and you got to have 60 days after it goes into effect, JSD Supply, which is a good friend of mine. He's going to have 60 days to serialize everything, and not only serialize everything, but he's going to have to put the name of his company, the place where it is, an FFL number, which is really,
I mean, that's not required now on serialized firearms, right?
No, it requires a lot more information, and you're gonna need like a freaking a piece of metal tied to it or something with all this information on there.
Yeah,
so
it's a book. Yeah,
it's gonna put him out of business, and it's gonna put a lot of other people out of business. And also, they specifically target buy, build, shoot kits in this, and they say, if you buy a frame or receiver with parts, like basically what the Ready Pelham or 84. That's a gun. I don't know how they determine it's a gun, but it's very interesting, and people are going to have 60 days to serialize their firearms, turn them in, or destroy them, which is a gun confiscation, registration, and everything that we said that we should be wary of. So everyone's going to need to get out there and write smart comments, because we can defeat this. We defeated the bump stock stuff and whatever. So not all hope is lost, but the hope that will be lost is if David Chipman gets in there. If David Chipman gets in there, then we are screwed, because he is definitely anti-gun. He worked for shot color.
Griffith, yeah, what's it? I think, didn't he work for the Griffith Foundation or something? Or
Giffords.
Oh, Giffords.
Sorry,
Giffords. Sorry, yeah.
They're getting my article up. Giffords. He works for Giffords. He worked for Everytown. Not only that, he worked for a very anti-gun organization that's very against suppressors called ShotSpotter. And not only that, if you read some of his writings, which I went through and read everything that he wrote at Giffords, I read every document that he wrote there. He says that they should reclassify firearms that can take magazines as machine guns, because it lets you shoot faster, which is insane, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be bad news if he gets in there. If not, then whatever. Discouraging thing though is Regina Lombardo, who is not exactly a friend of gun owners, is the acting head of
ATF. But she's leaving, right? Isn't she leaving sometime soon? Or resigning or something like that?
Yes, at the end of the month.
Okay.
And her replacement is going to be Marvin Richardson.
Oh, yeah. So from bad to worse.
And Marvin Richardson, Regina is not exactly a friend of gun owners, but Marvin Richardson is downright hostile to gun owners. And a couple things he hates is he hates unfinished firearms receivers, and also he hates pistol braces. In fact, back in November, him and Regina met with the Biden transition team, and the Biden transition team asked them, what are your biggest goals? And they said, our number one, unfinished firearms, which they called ghost guns. And number two, pistol braces. And if you look up Biden came out, he's
That's
giving
exactly
them what they want.
After. Yeah. So
go
ahead. Go ahead.
And if you go back and read my article from November, you knew exactly what was coming down.
Yes, of course. I know you've been doing.
I wrote that back in November. Like, this is what they're gonna do.
Yes, you've been doing a lot of good work on this. So is it really effective for people to respond to this, right? In this 90-day commentary period, do you think it's really it's gonna do something for people to respond to this, or are there other ways that we can more effectively shut this down?
It's gonna take a multifaceted approach. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We need everyone to comment, smart comments. Because they're gonna try to push it. Oh, the public, the public wants this. So by writing those comments, you're showing them that the public doesn't want it. And with bump stocks, it was overwhelmingly against the new pistol braces. Overwhelmingly, against pistol braces. With bump stocks, no one really wrote in and look what happened. But if you look at pistol braces. So it's all about perception. So we got to do that, right?
Okay.
That's part one. Part two is next week. There is going to be a hearing in the Senate, and I might or might not be consulting with some senators behind the scenes.
Okay.
But a hearing in the Senate on unfinished firearms frames. And there's going to be some really compelling guests, including, I can't really say, but there's going to be some guests that's been on your show before testifying in front of Congress. Not me, of course.
Okay.
Interesting. They would never let me. But yeah, there's going to be some of your guests, and when you see it, you're going to be like, oh my God,
So Edgar is going to be on there, but he's not telling us.
Yeah, right.
No,
I don't
think
get invited. I don't get invited to these type of things. That shit is too formal for me.
Yeah.
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 So that's what's going to go on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that.
What's up?
But that's what's going to go on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sue.
Okay.
100%. We cannot sue yet until the rules go into effect. I know. I know. There is some organizations that are, planning on filing lawsuits right now, but right now that's a dumb move. That's a fundraising move.
Okay. Okay.
Because you're not going to have standing. It's going to get them dismissed.
Okay.
So we have to wait.
We have to wait until.
Effect.
Yeah, we have to wait until they actually try to put it into effect. So you're saying people need to respond to this. They need to get a lot of people saying no to this. But then also, it sounds like senators, congressmen out there need to get a lot of negative feedback about these proposals in order for them to push back on it, right? Before we even get that far.
I've been meeting with some senators and congressmen already on this, so they are well aware of it, and they are going to push back hard. I'm not going to say who I met with, but I met with several of them. I'm close to DC, by the way, so
yeah, right. Okay.
Plus a lot of Zoom stuff. So they're aware of it. They are aware of it. So they are going to be pushing back hard against it, and GOA is going to be using everything in our book to push back and to push Congress to do the right thing. We have a lot of contacts in Congress, and one of the things we do, we just don't sue, we lobby Congress. So we have legislative stuff. We're going to be writing some bills for some Congress people. If you don't know, Congress people don't write their own bills.
No. They don't write them. They don't read them.
No.
They don't. Definitely don't understand what they're putting out there. I mean, what's surprising about that?
Well, we're educating them. We're pushing them hard. We're lobbying them. We have a super lobbyist who used to be in seminary. He was going to be a priest, but now he lobbies for guns.
Okay.
So, but he's a great lobbyist. He's our head lobbyist, and his team is attacking this head on. Then we have Super Attorney Rob Olson, who right now I think is going to go crazy because he's been working on this hardcore. And we have like other attorneys like Steven Staboli and like some really, really big attorneys. If you don't know who Rob Olson is, he's the guy that won the bump stock case, and he's going to be working on the lawsuit.
Awesome.
For this, I'm not going to say who the plaintiff is, but there's a lot of good people on there, and you should be seeing some stuff. GOA has been working with different manufacturers and different producers and different sellers of 80% lowers just to try to get everything in order, including JFD. Jordan from JFD who's been on your show.
Yes. Shout out to Jordan. I think I was communicating with him today. So we're helping them. He's bringing a Glock with a binary trigger to the IV-88 shoot. Oh, sweet, nice.
That's gonna be awesome. But so we're working with them. We're working with DefCAD. We're working with all those guys to defeat this because it's going to be a group effort, and we are willing to work with any group out there that wants to take this head on, because we're gonna spare no expense to fight back against this. And that is sorry for ranting there.
No, absolutely, no, you're good. I think this is a massive big deal, and people shouldn't just like shove this out of the way and not pay attention. It's a really big thing here that they can do to shut down. They can get a very effective shutdown of guns in America with what they're proposing here. Edgar, did you have any questions for John?
No, I think everything's pretty cut and dry. The only thing is I should warn him he's going to be getting some letters from the attorneys here in Colorado about the lawsuit that we've got going on. So we're going to be talking a lot, dude.
You're suing Crump?
No.
Are you suing him?
No.
Did Crump come on your show and try try to
No.
sell some Boy Scout cookies,
Yeah, yeah,
or
exactly. That's
you
what
know,
popcorn.
sell some
They sell popcorn.
gorillas and gun shoes or something.
I know that sheriff did not like me very much after I put him on blast.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
man, it's the level of retardedness has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not like me, and he was like, "Take it down." I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah. So what they're talking? You want to tell the folks what you guys are talking about here? This is something that you all worked on together. I think Edgar had a situation. Who wants to explain it? Edgar? For the
Yeah,
folks that don't
I'll
know.
kind
Yeah.
of chip in a little bit, and if
Mhm.
Crump wants to say some stuff, he's more than welcome to.
Mhm.
I haven't been told no by the attorney, so I think we're kind of good to go. The only thing I do have to do is kind of know about what time this was. But
Mhm.
anyways, COVID happened. A lot of people had to adapt to the way we were doing classes. So we adapted to the COVID situation and government shutdown. Really, not COVID, but really more so government shutdowns.
Mhm.
We started doing classes in that adapting mode. And a sheriff decided that he didn't like that in any way, shape, or form. Unfortunately for him, the state of Colorado does not allow sheriffs to decide what the laws are, or what curriculum is, or
Mhm.
so he decided to blacklist me and try to get the other sheriffs in the state of Colorado to blacklist me unsuccessfully, which was amazing. Most sheriff's office kind of told them to he's on his own
Mhm.
indirectly.
Mhm.
And then we sued him. He chose not to do the correcting, and he
Mhm.
got sued. So
Okay, damn it! There's another fly back in here. These flies again. These flies
they're
are getting
gonna
pretty
gang up on you.
badass. Okay, yeah, it looks like someone wound up calling John here. I'm sure he's real busy. We'll get him back on here in a
Yeah,
second.
that's fine.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna let's see. Did we get him back? Oh, here he goes.
Sorry, all,
Yeah.
all hands on deck.
Right. Yeah. I know it's a lot of craziness going on out there. And as someone said
Yeah.
earlier, they always drop this stuff on a Friday and then go off for the
Well,
weekend, right?
yeah, I knew it was gonna come on Friday, and Cody called me this morning. Cody Wilson. He's like, "Hey,
Mhm.
when are they dropping this?" I
Okay.
said they're not gonna drop it until probably after 4, between 4 and 5, because they have to drop it by 5, or
Mhm.
they're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna drop it before that. So I said between 4 and 5.
Mhm.
And
Pretty much that's what
that's when
happened.
it dropped.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but I got a leak from a source
Mhm.
that had the new rules, like the 107-page document. So I
Mhm.
had a little bit of a head start on writing my article, which should be out now.
Okay.
Um,
Your
but I
article's
didn't
up
drop it.
on Amoland?
Yeah, it should be. I
Okay.
didn't drop it because I was like, well, I could have dropped it as a leak. Hey, this is
Mhm.
what's coming down. But it was from a unknown source.
Mhm.
It seemed legit, but
Right.
you never know, right?
Yeah, I'm running it in. It says the headline is ATF released proposed rules for unfinished receivers and frames by some guy named Johnny Crumpy Meyer. It looks like right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and obviously it's
yeah.
going
So
through all the
yes,
things that we. These rules also go after build by shoot kits. The ATF will consider these kits to be firearms. So anyone who wants to read through this, it's here. Yeah, and like you said, man, this is a long this is a long thing here. I'm trying to scroll through and see what are the real like big things that we can see in here. You want to hit us with several things that we should pay attention to when we're looking through this?
okay, yeah. I can hit you with a couple different things.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the kits are now firearms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have 90 days to submit comments.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they can determine what a firearm is. They kind of fixed the AR-15 thing, so now they said, hey, whatever we say is a firearm is a firearm.
Right. So just to let folks know exactly what that's talking about, there is so with firearms with ARs, right? They're serialized, the lower,
Mm-hmm.
But there's ATF's been going after people, and if the people are savvy, their lawyers are savvy, they've been getting away with it because technically lowers aren't supposed to be the serialized part. Am I correct on that?
Because it talks about, well, neither one could really be
Yeah.
according to the definition now. So
Mhm.
basically, they said, hey, anything that could hold a trigger mechanism, or a hammer or a bolt or any of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what I want to know. Like in this here, are they saying that everything has to be serialized?
They're saying everything that they want to be serialized can have to be serialized. So basically, they can say, hey, you know, and here's the thing: they say unless you have a letter from the ATF stating that your item is not a receiver or a frame, then you must consider it a receiver or frame. And before it was like kind of the opposite, you know.
Okay.
So basically, now they can make anything that they want a receiver or frame.
Yeah. So they could just do haphazardly here if they get away with this. They could anything they don't like, they can make into part of a firearm. So if they don't, let's say we were talking about the pistol braces. If they don't like that, they could go, that's a firearm.
Well,
That needs to be serialized or whatever they want to
I don't think they're gonna go that far, because it has to hold a like one of like a trigger or a hammer or a block or a spring or something like that.
Okay, so
I don't think
uppers,
they're gonna.
they want uppers and lowers serialized for sure.
Well, they didn't say. They said they can decide what is and what isn't a receiver.
Okay.
So they can say, hey, we don't want the upper serialized on the AR-15, but on a SCAR or whatever, that has to be serialized. Or they can say, hey, the H what is it? HT SH
It's HTF
TF
50. Yeah,
yeah,
SHTF
the
50. Uh-huh.
SHTF 50. Hey, that has to be serialized because that's a receiver. So they can make up their own mind. It basically unbounds them. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I see. I think I'm seeing that part as I scroll through this. Man, this is it's a lot of crap, man. It's a lot of crap. What else do you think we should be looking forward to coming out here after this? I'm sure this is not the end. This is not the end of
No, they're gonna keep on moving the goalposts. They're gonna keep on moving the goalposts, definitely. What we have to look forward to is they're gonna do something very similar with pistol braces. And that's going to be probably in about 30 days from now.
Okay, so they're going to come out with a whole
in June.
Yeah, they'll drop another thing on the pistol braces.
Yeah, I mean, if not sooner. If not sooner, because what I'm thinking that they're going to do is they're going to drop it sooner, and they might not, but and to try to split the effort, because they don't think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay. We have to. Right now, it's not enough just to pay your $30, $25, $20 to your local gun organization or national gun organization once a year now. You actually have to get off the bench and become an advocate and become an activist. There's
and
no
that's
more
the problem.
Go ahead, Edgar.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. I've been in this game not as long as some of you guys have. But 10 years I've seen that's always the issue when you that's one of the biggest questions I get, like, how can I get involved? Like, just fucking do something. Like you make the fucking phone calls. Don't pay $20 so that somebody else can make the phone calls, because then it's only one person making phone calls, and it's only like we do a horrendous job at showing up. It was cool when we wrote the letters and we participated in the last ATF bullshit. But overall, like, it wasn't enough. Like, when you look at the numbers compared to the amount of people who have braces, or quote unquote own braces, estimated anyways, like it was nothing. Like, I don't think we even hit the fucking 5% mark of people responding to this letter. Like, that is crazy. And I have a feeling we're going to see the same thing. We could probably have P80 give an estimate how many people have bought their kits, and the amount of people that respond to this letter is probably not going to be anywhere near that number, which is kind of heartbreaking, right? Because we don't show up. We don't
So,
fucking show up. We need more people to show up.
correct me if I'm wrong on this, but different factions of the firearms world or the gun world, or however you want to put it, the 2A community, I don't know, put your label on it, whatever you want to call it. There's different factions, and we don't all get along. A lot of times, to the folks out there who are buying these guns, who believe in the Second Amendment, they feel like the industry is out for themselves. You know,
They probably are.
Yeah, I feel like that all the time. So I agree with you. I think we all need to do more. We need to do more than just give money to NRA or any one organizations, but we do need to give money, right? And then we need to share this stuff. We do need to write the letters. We do need to talk to the politicians. You know, we do need to actually go out locally. We need to make sure that we're voting and we're controlling that vote locally. We need to push more Second Amendment counties, make more states Second Amendment friendly states, all of that kind of stuff. We need to make sure this stuff has teeth. We need to do all these things, but all the different factions aren't on board. So all the organizations, a lot of times it seems like they're out for themselves. I know John represents GOA. I'm not. This is just like this crazy thing that happens, right? Everyone's trying to fight for, oh, we're the ones who did this. We did. I don't care who did it. I want all organizations fighting everything all the time. So I want everyone can take the everyone can take the glory if you're actually doing something. Go ahead, John.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the amount of money that other people have, like the Moms Demand Action. We don't have billionaires on our side, but what we do have is we have true grassroots movement, where on the other side there are a bunch of AstroTurf movements. So what we need to do is we need to do guerrilla warfare on this shit, right? Death by 1,000 paper cuts is what we need to do. True grassroots activism is what we have to do. Everyone out there has to be an activist.
John, you're right. But why is it we don't have billionaires? Are you telling me that if you put the people in the firearms industry together, there's not billionaires? There's no one that has the money?
Well, if I sold enough Gorillas and Guns shoes, I could become a billionaire.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I know you're working all the time. I know Edgar's working all the time, right? I'm working as other people. Everyone's got different levels of what they're doing here. You're right. You're making a good point. But we're acting like there's no money in the firearms game.
There is money in the firearms game.
So what are they doing with this money they're making?
Buying RVs and $1 million RVs and hanging out in the Keys.
Yeah. Well, more than that needs to happen, right? Like people, not just the folks out there need to do more than like Edgar was saying. Like, hey, you need to do more than just give money to NRA or whoever it is. You need to actually get out there and fight this. The companies could do the most to do this, right? Well, the companies can put messages out there. They can share this info. I know it's not all companies. I'm not painting all companies with that brush.
Like, for example, X-Tech donates a lot of their money to GOA and FPC. Because the president, the owner of the company, is very, very pro Second Amendment. And there's a coffee company called Defender Coffee, and they donate 100% of their profits to gun rights organizations. So when you buy their coffee, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, Hank. So don't.
I don't even drink coffee, but I would tell people then drink Defender. I don't even know those guys, but I would say
Defender Coffee. Yeah, it's really cool.
Coffee.
When you buy their coffee, like I bought coffee, and I really don't really drink that much coffee. But what you do is you select. You have a drop-down menu, and you select where you want your money, your profits to go to. And I talked to the owner because I was like, "This is kind of crazy, right?" I was like, "Why are you giving away your profits?" And he's like, "Well, he's like, it's, he's like, I had a good living, and I wanted to do something to give back. So I figured I could start a coffee company, make money, and donate all the profits to
So
to gun rights organizations.
I have a theory on this, right? There's a reason why we're not as effective now and in the last couple of years as people in the gun community were effective back in, let's say, 2013 when you had the fire Armageddon, right? Why? What's the difference between now and then? Anyone out there? Anyone?
So for
Bueller?
me, in my optics, because 2013 was one of the bad years for Colorado. 2013, we also filled the Capitol with a lot of people. It didn't do much, but we also recalled, first time in our state's history where we recalled people, but people were actually showing up, and it wasn't the NRA, it wasn't major organizations, it was people doing this shit.
But why? There's a simple reason why. I know John knows the answer to this. I want to see how do people really understand why. Like, we think, and I say it all the time, like, why are all these gun guys asleep? Why is no one reacting to this? You know? Wait, hold on a second. Are you guys there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of froze
I
up.
think you're
Okay.
I think you're having a little bit of
Yeah, let me see
bandwidth
here.
issues. Hang.
Yeah, if I'm lagging here, I might have to switch over here in a second. I might have hit my thing. So bear with me here for a second. If let me know if you guys are still if we're feeding out to you out there.
Yeah, I think we're still
So
feeding now.
one of the things that happened in Colorado while you're doing that, I'll finish this. One of the things that happened in Colorado was the underestimating of how fucked up they had us. And it was really sheer, we're not gonna take it. It was this I don't want to call it a panic, but it was definitely one of the very first times in Colorado when we seen a direct attack against our freedoms. And people were more motivated to show up because they seen how much they wanted to take away from us. They seen how much it was going to affect our freedoms. And here's the other thing. Part of the county that did the recalls, heavily Democratic. So it was a bunch of Democrats that own guns that made that shit happen.
Okay.
And that's part of the gun community that we always ignore and we forget and we talk shit about it is the Democrats that own guns that need to be fighting the shit. In fact, I'll put those motherfuckers ahead of us because like it's kind of their fight before it's our fight, in the sense that they have more of a voice than we do.
So you know what I think happened? I think that back then we all were able to use social media and communicate with each other better and get things out there. The difference now is even if we're on social media, our message is being suppressed. That's the difference. That's the difference.
I disagree. I disagree a little bit.
I think that's a big part of what's going on. We think everyone's asleep, but we're here and we're like, hey, we're here, we're working every day, and everyone else is like, yeah, I'm here, I'm trying to do stuff, I'm sharing this, I'm responding to people.
I don't think that's the only reason, though.
Yeah, it may not be the only reason, but it's one of the big things that's happening now. Like, these guys realized then how powerful this was, and now they realize, hey, we can stop these people from spreading a message and effectively getting out there.
Yeah, but I think the problem with using that crutch from now on is we're just going to use that as an excuse as to why we're losing, instead of understanding that we just don't show up the way we used to. In my opinion, and from my optics anyways, is what we've seen is just a lot of defeated people. A lot of you guys hate Tom Brady because he beats your fucking team every fucking year, right? So everybody's like an excuse, like, oh, it's
what's Tom Brady from? When you say Brady, I think of like the Brady Bill. I don't even know, or the Brady Bunch.
Exactly. See, right?
Yeah, Tom Brady's the most like winning his quarterback. Okay. You know, he just goes with the like.
We're talking baseball. We're talking baseball. Then I guess.
And the idea is though, like if Tom Brady, if you hate him, it's usually because he beats your fucking team all the time, and you're always making an excuse as to why you're losing every fucking year to Tom Brady. And the gun community is getting to that point where we're just making excuses as to why we're losing, and it's easier to not show up when you have an excuse to not show up. There's 90 people watching you right now. Those 90 people probably have an influence with 10 people. So you multiply that shit. Like, word of mouth is fucking incredible. I don't think we need social media as much as we think we need social media. But yes, you're right. If we're relying 100% on social media to get our message across, we're probably not going to be as successful as we were in the past years when we weren't being flagged and shit like that. But we shouldn't rely 100% on social media because we've got other means to fucking communicate. Like, we got phones. I still have people's phone numbers, and I can text motherfuckers, and like, so we're making this out to be like we don't fucking know people and we can't text people. Like, it takes you a second to text 20 of the fuckers on your contacts list to say, hey, write this fucking statement and show up, but we don't.
Yeah, go ahead, John. I sense you want to jump in here, and I know you may have to go, so hit us, and if you have to go,
Yeah,
let me know.
yeah. What I think that that we're going to be able to do. We are rolling out something. I don't want to really talk about it, but I'm rolling out something. That's going to make it very easy for you to contact your people, like your representatives and everything. Like a one-click type thing. And if you can't do that, then there's something wrong.
Then there's no
you
hope.
should be in the community.
Yeah. I don't think.
So
I don't think
that's
it's the
coming
only
out
reason.
very, very shortly.
Yeah,
I know, but so it's not the only reason. I think it's there's this defeatist attitude that a lot of people have that are like, no matter what we do, they're gonna do it anyway. Well, guess what? Maybe they will, but you know, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna continue fighting. I will fight. I will put my comments in, even if it makes no difference. I am going to continue to fight because eventually things will turn around, and then I can be there, and I will know the system. It's just like I was talking to like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? And she's introducing a bill that have like no chance of passing. It's like it's like defund the ATF type bill. I'm like, it's not gonna make it a committee. Why are you introducing this? And her reason is, well, you know what? I'm going to introduce it every single time. Every year, I'm going to reintroduce it until something happens. And we have to do that. So, hats off to her. It's a very, and I know a lot of people don't like Lauren Boebert for some reason, but she basically said the same thing to me that, you know, hey, we're going to introduce this stuff over and over and over again until there's some traction or there's something near that. It's just like why the Hush Act, and or you know, the suppressor deregulations, whatever act you want to call it. There's like 20 of them. Is that going to pass this year? No, but let's say in 4 years we got a Republican president and we have a Republican Senate and Republican House. Then, hey, guess what? There's a chance that it will pass, and there's a history of it being introduced over and over and over again. So even if we don't win, we have to keep on fighting. Plus, another thing, if let's say there's a million comments, they go ahead and pass this draconian regulation anyway. You know who's going to take notice of those million comments? The politicians that run for office. So so you got to think big picture. You can't just be focused on, it's not going to run. You do stuff for a result, but you also do stuff to influence future results.
Absolutely. Shout out to Rhonda Mary. I see her out there.
Rhonda's a good egg.
Yeah, she just put the googly eyes there, so I'm not really sure what that means.
That's because I'm on.
Yeah, she's looking at
no,
Edgar.
It's because of me, man.
Oh well, see, that's where you guys are. You think you're the awesome ones. But
she likes the glasses.
Okay. Shout out to her, regardless, Rhonda Mary out there.
Yeah.
Look, I think we have multiple things going on here, but I do think social media is a big part of everything right now. And we can't say it's a small part. It's not a 20% part. It's not even a 50% part. It's a bigger part than that, because for what's happening with people is that you know, this is the new way that everyone figures out what's going on and communicates and all that. But when you see that there's an active plan out there to stop people from communicating these things, it does play a big part in what's happening here, right? So
Yeah, of course it does. But I mean, if we look back, if this was the revolution right now, we'd be making the excuse, I'm afraid, that we can't do it because they're censoring us instead of just doing it.
Yeah. You know what? The other thing is that to me, and we've talked about this a lot, I think everyone's got a lot of stuff right now. We're living in a world where everyone has a lot of stuff. Right?
So then freedom's not a priority.
Well, everyone's worried about losing their stuff versus when this country was founded, regardless of whether people like it, don't like it, they're mad at people from when things, like, I think a lot of people don't realize that human beings are messed up. And so time doesn't really change a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
So back in the days when people had less things, you know, life was messed up and there's things that people don't like about that, but it was easier for people to get out there and fight for freedom.
Oh.
Okay, when people had to like come across here, regardless of how they got to America, they had to risk their lives in order to get to America, and then when they were in America, they had to risk their lives to survive, and every day they had to fight, right? People were willing to fight more for their freedom than they are now when we all have it good. Everyone has it good. When everyone has time to dance on TikTok and do all this kind of stuff, I'm not knocking anyone. Dudes are doing stuff too. If we have time to do all of that, we got it pretty damn good.
So
yeah, of course, but I mean that's the priority, right? It's just like you just haven't made freedom a priority. So you've made everything else. You made TikTok, you made your possessions and shit like that. And I get it, like I understand where you're coming from, but we can't just say like that's the excuse. I don't want to lose my shit. At some point, we have to not be afraid to lose our shit. And have freedom be the fucking priority. And that's the problem. That's one thing that we've said for a very long time, is most people are not willing to sacrifice for that freedom. We have it in, like we've been telling people for the past several months now, you're just not willing to put in the work that is required for this shit. You're just not willing to give up and sacrifice. You want to point the finger at somebody else and say, well, they didn't do the job that I wanted them to do. Fucker, it's not your responsibility. It's not their responsibility to fight for your freedom. It's your freedom. It's at your fucking doorstep. You have to be able to sacrifice for that shit. Because you're right. People are just, I want to, you know, there might be a day where you have to call off and not make $100 or $200 or whatever it is you fucking make, but is your freedom worth the fucking effort that you made there?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, think about it. Think about it this way: the founding fathers, right? When they signed the Declaration of Independence and went to war against Britain, those guys were like, "Hey, you know, we're gonna sign this. If we lose, they're gonna hang us."
Yeah.
And not only that, we're fighting the most powerful force on the face of the planet, and they're like, "You know what? It's worth the risk." It's just like Braveheart speed. Would you give it all for one?
Yeah, look, I agree with you, and but it's tough for people to do that when they have so much, and they feel comfortable in what they have, and they don't see the creeping danger. They don't realize that these, like, they think, oh, they just want to take away the guns. Come on, even if it's someone who has guns, they think, how many guns do you need? So if they take away, if people stop getting guns, if they do all this nonsense, if the ATF do it, it's not really going to affect it. I don't need more than one or whatever. They're going for everything. You're going to have to ask the government's permission for everything.
They're going for the Fourth Amendment. They're going for the Fifth Amendment. They're going for the First Amendment.
Yeah.
You think about this, right?
They're starting with your ability to fight them back and say no. By the way, let me just say this, John, before you say that. Rhonda Mary says it's because of you, Edgar. So there you go. See, I knew. See, I'm smart enough to know that she does. She definitely doesn't like me. So I knew it wasn't me. So it's Edgar. There you go. You're gonna have to grow a beard, John. You're gonna have to grow a beard.
I think it's white people. I'm just kidding, Rhonda. Rhonda's cool, girl.
Yeah.
No, I totally lost. I lost track of my thought. Oh,
she's an awesome young lady. She's an awesome young lady. Yeah.
I'm saying, like, everything that we have, or that comfort is an illusion. And they're going after the Fourth Amendment. They're going after the Fifth Amendment. They're going after the First Amendment. If you look at stuff like civil forfeiture, I don't know, people don't even talk about civil forfeiture, but it's ridiculous. Do you know they can go and they can take your money, they can take your property, and not charge you with a crime, and say, hey, you got to prove that you weren't using this for a crime. The way they do it is they say, hey, we're charging the money, we're not charging you. Institute for Justice fights that a lot. It's one of my favorite organizations. But yeah, they're going after that. Look at England and like in other countries, they even have it worse than us. There is a minister in Britain that had the audacity to say homosexuality is a sin. Now, if we believe that or not, hey, that's up to you. You know, if I believe it or not, that's up to me.
He says
but they charged him with a hate crime. And that crap is going to come to us. I mean, you got to remember, in New York, they want to prosecute people who misgender people. You know, I mean, if you want to be a woman and you want me to call you her, I have no problem with that. I will do that. But I don't think if like Hank decides, hey, I want to call him or her or him, then guess what? You know.
Yeah, but how do I know? And I don't want to fight about words. And I think at the end of the day, if you don't like if you don't like that I said she to you when you're a he, or said he to you when you're a she, that's not a reason to take my stuff, to lock me up, take away my freedom. That doesn't mean shit.
That's what I said.
It doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't give a damn.
There was a Nazi website that got taken offline, and like they did what's called like a customer hold, and wouldn't let them transfer the domain, and I got really pissed off about that, and people were like, they're Nazis. Why are you so pissed off about it? It's like, it's not because they're Nazis. It's because, you know, there's people are stifling their freedom of speech. Big tech has decided they can't say what they want to say, even though I disagree with everything they say, and I think they're disgusting, awful human beings. But guess what? They should be able to say that. And big tech, through their monopolies, was able to take them offline, take their websites offline, you know, basically kill the community offline, not let them move it or anything else like that. And that was big tech taking someone out. And I was like, dude, this is back in like 2015, and people were like, it's just Nazis. I was like, this is gonna expand, you know, and then they're gonna come after like conservatives, and they're gonna come after whoever they want. This is a test run. And a few years later, look what's going on.
Yeah. I think the ultimate thing here is the government wants control, and the way to get it is by dividing everyone. And so if they create a bad guy and they go after that bad guy and they get rid of him, they're going to create another bad guy, and then they'll get rid of that person, and then they'll create another one. Eventually, whoever you are, you're going to be painted into a corner. The question here is freedom. Okay? And how are you really free? Like, freedom is a dangerous thing. People are going to say shit to you that you don't like. You're not going to agree with people and all of that. You can't legislate that away. You can't fix all the problems with laws and all this kind of crap. And I think we understand that, but how do we get people out there to understand it? It's very difficult to do that when people are very comfortable, and most people out there continue to be programmed. Lots of people are falling into the trap of, oh, they're after me because I'm a black person, that's why they're trying to take me out, so I don't care, I'm going to go on these guys' side because they say they love me because I'm black or Latino, or because I'm a gay man or transgender or whatever it is, and they think, oh, it's awesome, I'm going to go with these guys and fight those guys and everything's going to be okay. No, people need to be free. You don't have to like them. You don't have to love them. You don't have to be around them. People need to be free to be who they are. If they're not trying to take your property from you, if they're not trying to harm you or your kids, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I have a friend that was going through some type of sensitivity training, some like racial justice training. And he looks white. And he told the white instructor, hey, you know, this I don't agree with any of this stuff. This stuff is BS. And basically he was told, hey man, you got to check your privilege,
Yeah.
You don't know how it is to live as a black person. And he's like, dude, my dad's black.
Mm-hmm.
He has a black dad. It's just like,
listen, they're straight up telling black people that they don't know what they're talking about.
yeah, basically that's what they did.
They're telling women, you don't know what you're talking about. Why are you mad at these guys who want to compete against you in sports? Why are you mad about that? You don't know what you're talking about. So you're taking away like actual women, people who are born women biologically, and have to deal with all the crap that goes along with being born women. You're taking away their thing to what they are. It doesn't make sense, right? It seems antithetical to what your whole thing is. But guess what? This is what I just said. And women, a lot of women out there are going along with it because they're like, yeah, damn the men. We don't need them. So they go along with it because they think that's helping make them better. And they can't see right now, right in front of their faces, it's making their lives worse. That's happening to all of us. It's this whole divide and conquer kind of thing that we're all going through and we're getting caught up in. And it's if they talk to you and say, oh, you're Latino? Okay, all these people are against you.
All right. Well, I got to take off. I went way over, and you got me all worked up now.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna go punch a wall or something.
Listen, thanks for coming on, man.
I got a lot of work. My weekend is basically ruined now.
Oh, well, you know what? I appreciate you coming on, and
not because of this.
Yeah, you're sexy to us, John. By the way.
Well, I am, and go to crumpy.com/discord. Join the community. Go to Black Swan Tactical. Buy a T-shirt or shoes.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And tomorrow, I just want to do one plug.
Okay.
You
already did a bunch of plugs, but go ahead. It's okay.
But it wasn't the plug.
No, that wasn't the one. Hit us with the one. This is the one to rule them all. This is the one.
Everyone know. Well, not everyone. Like, my main channel is John Crump News on YouTube. But I have a live stream, John Crump Live. Tomorrow is my 200th episode of Fireside Chats.
Congratulations.
And Hank's gonna be on there.
I am. What time is this thing?
10 o'clock.
Oh, you my Lord. Well, I hope everyone goes out there and does it. Tag me in something, and I will definitely share it, and I'll see. I'll see if I could at least show up in the chat or something like that, man. Congratulations to you.
There's going to be a lot of cool people.
Yeah, congratulations. A lot of
cool guests.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. 200 episodes. Yep.
Yeah. I'll try to come on for long enough to plug all my stuff. I'll try to come on just long enough to plug everything that I do.
I'm never invited, so.
See, yeah.
Edgar, I will send you an invite. So Edgar is going to be on the show too, because he just forced himself on the show.
Yeah, he has a no Mexicans policy, so Edgar. That's what's going on.
Hey man, I know, man. The people who come, I'm very nice to them. The people that cut my lawn.
Yeah, he doesn't like anarchists.
He doesn't like anarchy. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's what gets
even
me.
Though he's dressed all in black, like I noticed now he's all blacked out. Yeah.
Yeah, but, I gotta go put on my mask and start calling people start calling Jewish people like Ben Shapiro Nazis or something like that.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate you, John. I appreciate it. I am going to try to see if I can do something. I'll definitely promote it. I'll try to show up tomorrow. Yeah.
Edgar, if you want to come on, man, I'll email you the link. You're more than welcome to come on. 10 o'clock Eastern. I hope to see everyone there.
Yes, I'm going to create as much trouble as possible for you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
I'll be there. You send the invite. I'll be there.
All right, John. Thanks, man.
I will see you.
All right. Later.
All right. See ya. All right. I think we're still good. I'm expecting to have some problems with my internet, so I'm keeping an eye on everything here if anyone's wondering. So any follow-up stuff you want to do here, Edgar? While we're,
I think that was a good conversation. I mean, that's kind of where we needed to be having this conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this idea of pressuring and challenging the gun community to be better and not to make excuses. Because if we make excuses, then we'll never really accomplish anything. Like we got to see that there is an issue, but there's ways around that issue. Like it just never in the history of anybody who's ever accomplished anything has an excuse stopped them from doing what they were set out to do. So I think we kind of have to take cues from that. And the ATF is being retarded just like they always are. And we can't just have an excuse and not show up. And we just got to be better, right?
Yeah, we have to push back and fight against everything, and it's tough. It's difficult to find the motivation to do all of that. I realize it. It's tough sometimes for me to get up and do this every day. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
it is.
absolutely. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm an anarchist, and I say that as many times as I possibly can. One, to be annoying, but to let people understand what it actually means.
Mhm.
But I gave up with the freedom people a long time ago, not because I don't like the people, not because, but it just in the freedom movement, I've understood that most people just say they like freedom until you challenge them to look at freedom for what it really is.
Mhm.
And most people like government or
Mhm.
some sort of level of government or government services, anyways, which is called
Mhm.
socialism.
Mhm.
But I've had to learn how to work within that stuff. Like I've
Mhm.
had to learn how to. So yeah, it's depressing when I wake up and I say I really love freedom, and then you talk to other people who really love freedom, but you know,
Yeah.
so
Everything has a price, man. And so everything has a price. And whatever I always tell people, in order to get whatever it is you want in life, you have to be willing to give up everything you have in life.
correct,
And so that means you have to ask yourself, like, am I willing to do what it takes to get this? If you say you
correct,
really want to be free, are you willing to fight for that? And are you willing to fight for
correct,
it when it's not even, when you think it's not affecting you? A lot of us think, oh, that's not affecting me, so who cares?
correct,
But
correct.
obviously, like the gun thing is affecting everyone in America. It's obvious. Otherwise, why is all the guns in the world getting sold? Why am I going on Brownells and every freaking gun is sold out?
Everything,
Why is
everything,
all the ammo sold out on Brownells when I go there?
and
you know.
we do have to do a better job at presenting this
Mhm.
as a freedom issue,
Mhm.
because that's one thing we do the racist issue, and we
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
the property issue and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but I don't think we push the freedom issue as much in the gun community. Like it is plain and simple, just freedom.
Mhm.
It's my freedom today, and it'll be your freedom tomorrow.
Mhm.
Because there will be at some point where I can't buy a certain car because it goes over a certain
Mhm.
mileage or whatever,
Mhm.
and that's already attacked a lot.
It's gonna
Um,
be everything, man. I don't see any place that these. You tell me where you think these guys are gonna stop. You think they're gonna stop somewhere? They're
oh
gonna
no,
they're gonna go after what we eat. Listen, they don't want cows around. Cows create to destroy the ozone or whatever. We
yeah,
don't need cows. Cows gotta go. Right?
gotta
Okay,
go.
cows have
Yeah,
to go. It happens to be my favorite animal to eat.
yeah, delicious,
Yeah,
super delicious.
yeah.
No,
And they won't
there's
stop
no.
there. Then chickens have to go, and then this has to go, then that has to go. Then you guys can't eat the fish because you're destroying the oceans.
Yeah, and yeah, and don't breathe because
Yeah.
there's not
I mean,
enough
at some point,
oxygen
it's going to
to
be, you know what? We don't want you to eat the vegetables either. The vegetables are people. If you think about it, like plants are alive. I agree with that. I live in the country.
yeah.
I live inside of nature. These trees around here are trying to kill me. It's called allergies, bro. you know. But at some point, they're going to go, yeah, you can't eat those either.
Yeah, yeah. There's no stop sign for government. There
No,
never has. There never will be.
you know what? There's no stop sign for people who want to tell other people what to do. And this is the thing about freedom. Like, do we really want to? I think this is maybe the point that you're trying to make here. That do we want to tell other people what to do? Is it my right to tell someone, oh no, you know, I don't like that you want to dress like a woman, or you believe you're a woman. No, that's not my place. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you believe, if that's the way you see the world, good for you. If you're not hurting me, if you're not taking anything away from me, good for you. You rock and roll and go do that. It's not my business. That is called freedom, regardless
Yeah,
of what I personally believe, right?
correct.
I don't believe that if you're pregnant that you should abort your child. I think that's murder. If someone else believes it, I would disagree with them very strongly over that. But hey, at the end of the day, if you want to commit genocide against your own self, then knock yourself out.
Yeah, and the biggest conversation is, and we don't have this enough, is do you want the government to have control over that?
No.
'Cause- and that's the thing. I think we need to ask ourselves anytime anything comes before us, do we
Mm-hmm.
want the government to have
Yeah.
control over that?
Yeah.
And I think the answer should always be no, absolutely not.
No, and I don't want the government to pay for things and to I want the government to be as small as possible. By the way, shout out to Down the Barrel LLC. I see him out there as well. Shout out to all the people who are watching us. Please smash those thumbs ups. We need it now more than ever. You know, I want the government to be really, really, really tiny and small, man. Let me see. Hank McCormick gave us a super chat here, so let me play this.
Money, 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 money.
That's Gorillas and Guns right there. I'm gonna do the applause on that one, just like Edgar's going right there. He gave us $20. Thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate that. And he says 3D printing is the gold mine. A lot of gun store owners look down on the 3D guys, thinking it cuts on their sales. What is the margin on gun sales versus parts premiums on parts versus gun stores trying to charge more on firearms MSRP? So I don't know, Hank, are you asking a question there with that? I don't know what the numbers would be, but I think, in my opinion, I don't think 3D printing is cutting in at all into gun stores' sales or their profit margin or anything like that.
No.
I mean, if anything, if the store owners were intelligent and they understood what was happening, they would embrace the 3D movement and figure out ways that they can help people who are interested in that, and that they
Right.
could also profit from it. What do you think, Edgar?
Yeah, no, they're two completely different sectors right now.
Yeah.
It's two completely different sides. It's kind of like the custom cars and buying a car off the lot. It's just two completely different animals.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way, let me
there's
just. I'm sorry. Let me just.
Yeah.
Down the Barrel is asking if he can come on the show. Down the Barrel, I sent you a link yesterday. Use that link if you want to come on. I'm fine with you coming on if you want to jump on. Just use that link. Sorry. Go ahead, Edgar. I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's two completely different animals. And I see this in the gun community all the time. And you kind of alluded to this a little bit. You kind of suggested this and touched on it a tad bit. And that's that poverty mentality. It's this idea of like, no, I'm like this takes away from me, and no, you just suck at being a business person. You just suck at marketing. So anything that comes up, you see it as a threat.
Yeah.
So any gun company, any gun store owner that sees 3D printing as a threat to their business, you just suck at the business side of it. Like you should hire somebody else to take care of the business side of it.
Yeah, well, I think those same people probably saw when guys started building their own ARs more. They probably saw that as a threat, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they see everything as a threat, dude. It's instead of an opportunity. And you're right, man. It's just the way you're looking at the world, bro.
Correct. And that's a poverty mentality. That's this idea of like, I don't have enough, so I need to like hoard everything to myself. And the reality is like there's more than enough to go around. Fucking start being a wholesaler for filament and fucking Ender and
get a 3D printer in there and start 3D printing some stuff in the store. You know,
shit, charge people. There's a lot of people that don't want to invest or don't have the room or whatever. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. If you guys
Easy.
know so much about guns, start coming up with some little parts on your own and 3D printing some things. When there's smart guys in your neighborhood, you're like, oh, this guy's smart. Start like this is you have to change the game of owning a store today. You have to change it. Look, I'll tell you something honestly. A lot of guys hate the internet. A lot of gun stores, like the old gun store owners, hate the internet. Why do they hate the internet? They're like, oh, because now people are going to go buy guns from the internet. And so even they tell people, oh, if you buy a gun online and you want to get it transferred through us, you can't do it. We're not with that. Seriously.
Or they charge an obscene amount of money.
Yeah, or they charge a lot of money. Why? Why are you doing that? Why don't you want to find out what people want to buy? You know, if it was me running a gun store today, I would say make your store a place that people in the gun community have to go. Make it a friendly place that people can come, hang out, find out about stuff, look up stuff, be interested in your customer of who are they looking at when they're looking at YouTube. You know, what kind of sites do they go to? Where are they buying stuff from? What are they interested in? What do they want to see?
Correct.
This is how you should do it. I don't know. This is just my crazy thoughts on that.
Well, I mean that's part of the marketing, and that's part of understanding your demographic, and that's part of business. I don't give a fuck what you're selling. You have to understand what the fuck your market is.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, shout out. Oh, well, let me do this. Hank McCormick says I went from the consumer that bought a firearm and ammo. So I'm not exactly sure what that is, but that's his comment there. And what is going on here? Okay, the real NOC. Let me see if I could put his thing up here. Real NOC.
Snap.
Yeah, real NOC is out there. Shout out to him. He said, "What's up, folks? Edgar the Beast and Hank the Strange."
KD.
Yeah.
Are you going to KD's event?
I'm not exactly sure is the best thing I could say to you, because I think I do want, when KD's event is
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend. If Kevin could throw that up in the chat, I'll throw it up on the screen. I think I was trying to tell Kevin that he needs to come on the show to help promote that. Here's the problem. That's towards.
I think it's sold out.
Yeah, it's towards the end of the month. Now, I'm going to be like on the road at that time. And I'm going to be in the Indiana area, so I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to do...
it's right down the street from where you're going to be.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what's happening and all that, just because there's like a ton of stuff happening here at the same time. But I want to do everything to help promote that. So, but you know, I don't like to get pinned down to stuff. You know what I mean? You know, I'm just a rebel. What can I say? But shout out to Kevin Dixie, and I hope Kevin will come on actually to help talk to you guys about the event sometime here. I believe Lola reached out to him. She did it, Kevin. I know Lola and I spoke about that. So Black Sword Shinobi is telling people to write the White House and tell Joe hell no, and Hank McCormick says to now buying. Okay, he says he went to now buying lower parts, kits, stripped uppers. I buy parts because of 3D printing. And the best thing the stores could do, if you are a smart store, have that stuff there. Because if a guy realizes, oh crap, I don't have this thing, you don't want to wait for Amazon to deliver it to you 2 days from now. Have it there in the store. How about
Correct. That? And really, if major gun manufacturers, Glock and SIG, and I think SIG is doing an okay job, but FN, if these people were to also start thinking about this shit, they can start making parts and just sell their parts to these local stores and make that shit available for the 3D market. There's no reason why I should go to an aftermarket place if I don't absolutely want to. There's a lot of people that like a Glock barrel for whatever retarded reason, or a Glock trigger for whatever weird reason.
Listen, none of these companies are in danger of 3D printed guns.
No, at all. You can embrace it and actually make more money.
If I was the companies, I would be trying to embrace it. One, it's a good testing ground to find out what people are interested. 3D printed guns are not going to replace the other traditional guns we have out there in the world right now. It's never. Not yet. Not now. We're not at that point where that's going to happen. I'm not saying in the future that may not happen, but right now we're not there. So if you are in the manufacturing industry, if you make guns, why don't you pay attention? Why don't you show interest in what's going on? Because it's a good way for you to find out, people like this.
Correct.
You know, people are trying to do this thing. They like these features. Why is that? Let's add that to be interested in what's happening and use that to future-proof yourself, I think.
Yeah, but it's work. And I think a lot of these people that are afraid of losing the business are already afraid of working to begin with. They're trying to do as little as possible to make a dollar. Because we fell into the trap of work smarter, not harder. Instead of doing both, you can work hard and work smart all at the same time and be efficient, effective, and make a fuck ton of money and not sacrifice the hustle. But somewhere along the line, we just decided as a whole society that it's cool to not work, and anything that makes you work more, even a little bit, like fucking 3D print a gun for somebody that doesn't want to buy one, and charge them $10 for the service or $20 for the service. They're just retarded. I mean, that's just no other way of saying it.
You know, I think one of the things too is that success breeds atrophy. So, I think this is one of the things that happens. You become successful, you know, if you're Glock or something like that, let's just say, you know, and you're successful, you're selling all the guns in the world, you have it all. Then now you start getting distracted by things, you know. You want to
Yeah.
it's what happens to everyone that becomes successful, man. If all of a sudden someone started dropping $1 million a year into my lap, you know, I start balling out and doing all kinds of things, and I lose my hustle. But to me personally, my hustle, like you're saying, working smarter but also working harder, that equals hustle as far as I'm concerned. And my
Right.
hustle keeps me alive. When I stop hustling, that's when I die. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But that's what I just want to address the comments.
Mhm.
I'm
What's
actually a
happening
Glock
now?
carrier.
Oh, what's
Yeah.
what is it? Night Train is saying the Glock hate is strong with Mr. Antillon. That's almost a rhyme right there.
I actually carry Glock, but I'm one of these people that understands that Glock triggers are fucking trash, man. They're
Yeah.
not amazing.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, it just as a business person, you just can't be afraid of the change. You
mhm.
got to embrace it. You got to adapt. And if you don't know how to adapt, that's the free market, right? You didn't
Yeah.
deserve to be
Now, when
part
you
of
say
the free
trash,
market.
when you say trash, right? This is the interesting thing about
Yeah.
language. You don't really mean, "Hey, it's crap."
No, I
You
mean,
know,
it
you
could be better.
yes, you're they're not pushing the boundaries for you. They're not. This is the reason why people are more interested in 3D stuff, because if they're not getting what they want from companies, they're like, well, how do I get this cool thing that I
Correct.
want? Like, we're currently working on a bullpup Glock. Why are we working on a bullpup Glock? Because Glock won't make it.
Correct. Or why
Yeah.
why are people making long slide 19s? Because
Hmm.
Glock decided to fucking make the 19X
Yeah.
instead of what they really wanted, which is a 19 frame with a 17 slide on it.
Yeah.
And now you
BW
can do that.
Yes, BWE says I'm trying to figure out how to make money with 3D printers in my business. Yeah, kudos to BWE Firearms. But see, he's a smaller company, so
Correct.
he's able to maneuver like that, and you know, and think about those things where the bigger companies can't do it. Diximus Maximus, real NOC, says 3D printing is to the gun manufacturers what the internet was to catalog ordering, long term, and they should adapt. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. I don't think it's ever going to replace it. I do believe it's kind of like the car industry where you have the custom market and then you
Mhm.
have the stock market. There's many more people who are just going to want to go straight to Glock and not bother with CADing and doing all that shit because it is a process. My son has two 3D printers
Mhm.
and he may or may not be building a fuck ton of guns. Um,
That's a specific
and
metric.
a fuck ton of them.
Yeah.
And there's
He's
a
like,
long
yo,
trial
Dad,
and error.
I'm building a fuck ton. You know, or he might tell you later, listen, Dad, it's a mega fuck ton. It's not
Yeah,
just
mega fuck that. Yeah,
don't
exactly.
undersell when I'm up to here.
But it's a process to understand the temperatures and
Right.
to understand the filament and the fills and all that shit. It's a
Oh, yeah.
process.
Mhm.
And when you have a place like BWE, if like he puts the time and effort into figuring all that shit out,
Mhm.
and then you find the people that don't want to deal with the catting and doing any of that shit, you charge them $15, $20 to print the fucking file.
Mhm.
I promise you it costs like maybe $1 for you to do it.
Mhm.
I mean, if you think of profit margins, that's an insane amount of money
Mhm.
for that shit. Like it's the
Mhm.
profits are to be made. I mean, you could do it.
Yeah, I think it's something that it's not necessarily like it's easy. It's one of these things easy to say, but not necessarily so easy to do, right?
Correct.
You know, and
Yeah.
there's a definite learning curve for doing 3D printing, and you got to have time. If you don't have the
Oh,
time to really dig into it, and then what's your time worth?
a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of shit. You can print. I've seen him print a gun, and it takes him a whole day to
Mhm.
print it, just to like halfway in there be like, "Oh, I fucked up. I had it too
Mhm.
hot, or it was too cool, or
Mhm.
it didn't come out the way." So it's an art. It's a fucking
Mhm.
art, man. I don't have the
Yeah.
patience for it.
Yeah, but it's a good thing that he's doing it. I mean, this
Correct.
it's another one of these things that I think everyone doesn't need to do, Like in the world that we're in, everyone doesn't need to do the same thing. We just need to like support each other. I think this is one of the things that we all fall short on. Like everyone's trying to do everything. How about like I find someone like yourself, Kevin Dixie, Maj Toure. I find different folks out there that are training people. How about I promote those people? How
Yeah.
about I help
Yeah.
them out? How about I don't try to get into the training business?
Correct.
Maybe I get some training, but I don't try to get into that business. I think
Correct.
this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. We can't just try to do everything and be everything because this is hot, so I'm gonna do it. Everything takes work. I'm definitely not the first person to do a podcast. I'm not trying to stop anyone from jumping on the podcast bandwagon and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I did. But ultimately, in order to do anything, it takes a lot of work to do it. And what we need to do is say, hey, well, let me figure out how what I'm doing I could help promote other people. So if someone's training, I should help promote them. If that person's training and they're like, "Hey, these guys, here's the people helping promote me." This is how it should. This is how it should go. This is what like communities do. If you're the guy that knows how to bend metal and make it into stuff, you become the blacksmith. Everyone pays you for that. If I know how to raise chickens and people want chicken wings, I make the chicken wings. I bring some chicken wings over to the blacksmith.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
get some swords.
And that's been the killer, the kind of the Achilles heel of the gun community is everybody just wants to step on each other's toes. There's too much ego in the gun community,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of makes sense, right? It's kind of a type A activity.
Yeah.
It kind of, there's a lot of adrenaline and emotion involved with pew pewing and all that stuff, and but it translates over into the business side of it, and then it turns into this wild, competitive, egotistical side and then this is where you get a lot of trainers who want to be activists, but they're not activists; they're just sideline activists.
And do they really need to be? This is the thing. Like I think
Correct.
they don't need to be. If there's good activists out there, let's just support the activists.
Correct, and that's the idea. Kind of to your point is, but you have these people who have a certain amount of influence in the training community, saying, "Oh, don't like this fucking activist isn't a good activist," but like you don't know, like you're not the activist, right? You're the trainer guy. Tell me who's a good trainer, who's not a good trainer,
Right.
because you're not the activist guy, and vice versa. There's activists that are kind of doing the other side of it, like, "Oh, this is the instructor to go." Like, well, you're not an instructor, like you're not in your lane. And I don't know if that's a correct statement or not. I'm just saying shit just in this for the sake of saying shit right now. I'll evaluate that shit a little bit later and see how I feel about that shit, but I feel amazing about it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Your internet has gotten lots worse.
Very.
But, yeah.
Very.
A couple of things there I would say. One, in the community, people need to be able to. We got to be able to talk about each other to some level. As long as we have some measure of respect.
Right.
I think that part of it is all good. Letitia says that if Edgar 3D printed, the machine would have been thrown into the street already.
Facts.
Yeah, the machine would have. He would claim that the machine is an anarchist and refusing.
Refused to fucking cooperate.
Yeah, machine is like, fuck you, dude. Yeah.
Of course, that would be all the machine's fault, not my fault.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form.
I'm laughing because I like looking at Rick and Morty, and I think Rick and Morty partially is a little bit of that, right? Like I think if some people, a lot of gun guys out there, like, what the hell are you talking about? But you know, Rick is a little bit of an anarchist himself, and there's a thing where he like makes this robot, and the robot's like, "What's my purpose?" And he's like, "Your purpose is to serve butter," and the thing's like, You know, it's mad because its purpose is to serve butter. It wants to do its own thing. Well,
Yeah.
you know, this is the weird thing about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is
Absolutely.
the weird thing
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't have the patience for that shit at all.
Yeah, when the machines turn against us and we're like, you know, and we happen to be people who don't believe in order, let's say, which is not really true. I think you believe in order, but
I believe in rules. I don't believe in rulers.
yeah. But when the machine is not doing your thing, how is it the machine's fault? Machines do specifically what they are programmed to do.
Yeah.
If there's a problem with a machine, the problem is the human being involved in that situation. It's the same exact thing as guns.
So this is what I tell my students, especially when they want to blame the gun for not doing what they think a gun's supposed to do. Big like question that I ask them, like, every time you have a problem, who's there? And the obvious answer is, well, me. Like, every time I have a problem, I am there. So every time you have a problem, you are there. And there's nobody else to blame except you.
Yeah, exactly. This is the first thing I learned about computers, man. And I learned that a long time ago about computers. People still get mad at the computers. Even Lola like gets mad. I'm like, Lola, it's not. And I tease her. I'm like, you know, it's like your voodoo. Your voodoo is messing up all of it. How come my voodoo? This makes her so mad. Yeah, like being African. If I'm saying voodoo to her, it's like I'm being racist, right? But I'm just messing with her, and she's like, you know, what's the thing? But you know, it's like reality. At the end of the day, these things can only do what we tell them to do. So maybe the person who made that thing, who programmed it, or whatever's flawed, or what you are doing, what you're doing is flawed. So you know, we just don't consider that. So,
and that's why we need places like, what was that place called, BWE?
Yeah.
To buy a few printers and do it for people like myself who don't know how to fucking 3D print.
I think so. I really do think that just to get back to a second about 3D printing and not like spend, because I don't want to spend my whole time talking about freaking ATF. I hate them. They don't need to exist.
Correct.
But you know, this is where 3D printing is really powerful, man. This is how we change things and we develop things. And we need to fight for people to have the right to invent stuff. Some guy out there in the middle of nowhere, some young kid who is like, oh, 3D printer, you know, he gets it. Maybe he didn't even get it to make guns, but he gets it, he starts making things, and then he comes up with something. This is how ideas happen, right? Maybe that person's in a community, everyone's trying to figure out, well, how do we accomplish this? And they're able to make their part to make rapid prototypes. We're already seeing the manufacturing industry using 3D printers for rapid prototyping. You know?
Oh, it's so much easier to prototype with 3D printers. Like,
this is where everything changes. But now the combination of someone like Richard from BWE, who he's already an accomplished, I don't know, I think Richard is at like somewhere between 30 and 40 years of experience of making guns and testing guns and making parts and all this kind of stuff. I mean, what's in Richard's mind? You know, like Richard was sick, we almost lost him. We almost lost like a ton of knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So a guy like that, with that knowledge, getting into 3D printing, the amazing opportunity there is if you have an idea and you don't have the time to print stuff or troubleshoot and figure out what's wrong, for what would have been a lot more expensive to do in the past, you could get together with someone like Richard from BWE, and you can develop something.
Correct. And maybe even make your own gun, right? Like, there's a lot of people that talk shit about the big manufacturers. It's the year's 2021, man. Like, it's so much easier to develop your own shit. Like, it's so much easier to start your own thing, to create your own thing. Like, it just, and there's teams of people like you mentioned that can help you with that shit. It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah. And this is what I'm trying to encourage. I mean, honestly, this is like another thing that goes with that conversation of why is everyone trying to do everything? You know, I definitely don't want to do that. But I think like this is an amazing opportunity that we all have to put people together. And the idea is the things that the folks are like, hey, how come someone doesn't make this? And then someone says, you know what, I have an idea. Then we put that person might have a really good idea, no way to implement it. We put them over there with this person or this group of people. They develop something, they come up with a prototype, and we're like, hey, that's good. Maybe we find a company that can buy in and manufacture that, or we figure out, hey, you know what, maybe these people can make this stuff and start selling it. And you know, it creates there. This is why I don't have the mentality, the scarcity mentality that a lot of people have. Right? I think you said it was poverty. I think that's true. But to me, it's scarcity. There's people
Yeah.
who think that
Yeah.
there's a scarcity of everything, and there's people who
Correct.
think there's an abundance of everything. Like, I'm an overabundant person, and I think there's an overabundance of opportunities for us if we just figure out how to look at things in a different way.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And but again, it's that excuse thing that we have in the gun community that we always work excuses as to why we can't accomplish what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Hart said something that's pretty interesting, and many other people said it as well. But the way he
Mm-hmm.
said it was pretty spectacular. Is like whether you're sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself
Mm-hmm.
or you do the work, the same amount of time has elapsed. So either you're going to let a whole year go by
Mm-hmm.
doing something, or you're going to let a whole year go by feeling sorry for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. I mean, I'd much rather spend a whole year doing something, or just feeling sorry for myself because I'm
Mhm.
retarded and I don't know how to make the connects to
Mm-hmm.
make shit happen.
Yeah. And also you don't have to win. I think that's a very smart thing that he said. But people have this idea that they have to win, and if they feel, a lot of people feel like, oh, if I'm not going to win, then I'm not going to fight. I don't believe in that. I'm fighting you no matter what.
Correct.
I could lose. I don't care. I'm not afraid of losing.
Correct. And not to do the whole cliche thing, but I mean, I think it's important, kind of just what you said right there.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey has an interesting story about his dad.
Mm-hmm. The
This
comedian
idea,
Jim Carrey.
yeah, the comedian Jim Carrey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Fucking weirdo Jim Carrey.
Right. Uh-huh.
He talked about how his dad was an amazing comedian. Like he could have been one of the best comedians ever, but he was too afraid of trying.
Mm-hmm.
So he stuck to his day job because it was sure and it was cushy until he got fired and let go.
Mm-hmm.
And his message is like, you got an option. You can fail at the shit you hate, like his dad did. He took the safe route and he still failed. He
Yeah.
still lost. He still got fired. He still lost his house. He still lost the car. Or you can fail at the shit you love to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's some pretty powerful shit. They're like, either way, there's probably gonna be failure.
Mm-hmm.
But you choose how you want to fail.
Life ultimately is failure, you know. Like we're born into the world, and you know, as babies, we don't have very much power or anything like that, or like even not even coming into the world. But if we make it here, you know, if we don't get aborted or whatever happens to us and we make it here,
Yeah.
especially considering how many frickin' sperm we came from, because not all those sperm are making it, right? All those hoops that you have to jump through to be here, and then you feel like you have no power for lots of different reasons. What sex you were born, what what race you're in, what country you're in, and all this kind of stuff. And you grow up, you become young people, and you start feeling more powerful and all of that, and you start going after dreams. You start accomplishing things and all that, or maybe not accomplishing things, not taking risks, doing all of that. Ultimately, that leads to no matter what you do, your body starts failing.
Yeah.
You know, and you start dying out of the world, right? You start getting older and you start degenerating, getting ready to leave the world. What's important somewhere in there is that you kicked off that thing of life again. That's the important thing.
Correct.
You put those clones of you out there so that they could go through that cycle again. That's what makes us powerful.
Except don't have kids. If you ever had kids, don't have kids. You do it
No,
on
have
your own.
kids. Don't listen to Edgar. What's he talking about? Edgar has kids and awesome kids.
I have 4 awesome kids. Yeah, one
Yeah.
of them is kind of iffy. She's a little weird.
They're all weird. They're all weird.
But I'm on a
Yeah.
mission to make people not have kids, man.
Really? Why? And you have 4.
I have 4. Like it just. Oh man, I don't. We're almost done here, I think. But
Yeah. Well, why? Why though? If you have 4, they're awesome.
There's no. Yeah, absolutely, they're amazing. I love them. But if I could go back all over again, and the unfortunate side of it is that I have this conversation with my kids, right? So, and I hope they understand it intellectually and they don't listen to it emotionally. That's my wish there, is that they never listen to this part of it emotionally, just intellectually. But if I can go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't have kids.
Okay.
One, you're bringing them into a world of uncertainty where there's poverty, there's government and wars and shit like that. We don't know what the future is going to hold for us. The other side of it is there's a lot of emotional shit that they get put through that just doesn't make sense nowadays. So I look at my life, and one of the big things that I've always told my mom is, like, I never asked to be here. Like, you chose to fuck, and you chose to have me, and like you chose to do this shit. Like, I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah, and you chose also. Unless you did artificial insemination, you made the same choices.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it was a selfish thing. That's the other thing. Having kids is a very selfish thing. Very selfish thing.
I would tell your kids, don't listen to you. Don't listen to you. Be an anarchist. Don't listen to him. Okay? He doesn't know everything. Life is about strife. Strife makes human beings better. And yes, you're gonna suffer, and life is crazy, and you don't understand it, and you're not gonna win, and it's tough. Like, I'm afraid. I worry about my kids, but ultimately, I'm glad they're here. I'm glad that they're here, and I hope that they have.
But why are you glad that they're here?
I'm glad that they're here because they are my opportunity to have a direct effect on making the world a better place by taking care of them and guiding them and teaching them, nurturing them into the world. And I hope they pick up the baton where I leave it off and keep trying to make the world better. You know, I don't agree with a lot of stuff with my dad, but my dad always told me, be better than me. And that's the one thing. If I could say one thing to my kids over and over again, I'll say, be better than me. This is this is what it's all about.
That's kids' only responsibility, right? At the end of the day, is be better than the parents.
Be better than us. Be better than us. Make a better world, but really better. Be able to tell whether or not you're making the world better.
Correct. So the problem with that, though, is that's my own selfish desire for what my kids should do. So again, you continue the selfish. I had kids for a selfish reason. I wanted to fill a void in my life, and I wanted
now you don't want anybody else to have kids. For a selfish reason. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a selfish reason, you don't want anybody else.
Get a puppy. Get a fucking puppy.
No,
they do the same shit.
No, puppies are not the same. I love dogs, all of that, but dogs are not the same. They are not equal to your children. If people could tell themselves that if they want to, that's some kind of malady of the brain for you to tell yourself that a dog, and I have friends who do that, and I love them, but it's not the same, bro.
No, I know it's not. No, I know it's not, but it's still a very selfish act to have kids. We could probably talk about this for a very long time, because it's a very philosophical conversation.
I agree.
And it's a very interesting one too.
Absolutely. Next time we need to do that. That. Yeah. I'm gonna. I know, like, there's something going on with your internet. Mine at some point is gonna start messing up here if I don't actually get off. But I think it's a great conversation. I appreciate all the people out there joining us, as well as John Crump coming in. I hope you guys go support him tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. He has a show. I'm gonna try to do something for a couple of seconds and be out, maybe, perhaps. I don't like committing to anything here. But Edgar, tell the folks out there how they can support you, what places they can go to follow up and find out more about what you do.
2 main places. That is gunsforeveryone.com, and then the other one is gfenational.com. That is the national organization, which is basically an alternative to the NRA for training. So if you want to become an instructor, or if you want to take some good classes, that's gfenational.com. We have instructors all over the U.S. But gunsforeveryone.com, gfenational.com.
Awesome, cool. So everyone stay right there. I'm going to run in the end and come right back, and Edgar's going to hit us with the words of wisdom. Let him get the last words, and then we'll be out of here until next week. Big shout out to Franklin Armory for them sponsoring us. I really appreciate them, as well as the dudes from US Law Shield. Check the description. You guys can sign up for US Law Shield through our link. You can save some money. Plus, you can put a little couple shekels in our pockets. We appreciate everyone that's been here this week and all you guys joining us. Smash those thumbs ups if you can. I'm going to run in the end and be right back here in a sec. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. If you're listening to us, we rip this audio out and we throw it up on iTunes and all the other places you get your audio podcasts. People listening to us around the world. It's awesome to see every day all the folks who are listening to us in all the different places, as well as everyone here in America. I really do appreciate Edgar and Antillon coming in here from Guns for Everyone. Edgar, hit us with your words of wisdom, sir.
First off, I appreciate you having me, and reminder, don't have kids.
Is that it?
That's it. That's my word of wisdom. Till next time.
All right, there you go. Okay, he's got that. We're out of here. Thanks so much, Edgar. Thanks to all you guys. We'll see you next week. Be safe. Peace.